Hey guys, welcome back to Mediocre Arts and Crafts.
Thank you so much for joining me for part 3 of our beginner cardstock mini album. This album is coming together pretty nicely, and I'm pretty excited to share this next piece with you. We're going to cover some pages and start on a couple of the interactive elements, so sit tight and I'll take you through it.
I am going to be putting some other elements in this book. Like I said, I'm going to be putting a couple top loading pockets, and I'm going to put a couple of side flaps, which I'll show you in a minute, and a waterfall. So I want to identify those easily again as I put the pages together and start covering the front and back of each brown cardstock page. So the first thing I want to do is make a note that I'm going to do a waterfall. And things like waterfalls that are going to cover the majority of the page, or, multiple photo mats, or interactive elements, they are going to, you're going to be covering a lot of the image. So you're going to want to think about that. So for example, for this sheet here, once I take those notes off, I am going to put a place for one photo mat here. And if the person that is doing the final decoration of the album and filling it up with memories wants to put another page down here, they certainly can do that. I'm going to put one photo mat here. I'm going to do a pocket with a few extra photo mats so someone can adhere those down if they want to. But those are the types of things that you're going to consider as you put your book together. So I'm going to do a waterfall. Did y'all see my May envelope where I made my notes? This is the envelope my stamp club comes in. So like I said, we're going to do a couple of different things. I'm going to make a flap on 2 different pieces. I'm going to do a top pocket on 2 different pages. One, two, three, four, 5. Top pocket, and pocket with insert is the last one that I have here. So I want a lot, or a few different elements. So now I'm going to flip back through the paper now that I have something that marks the orientation of each page, and I'm going to decide what pages these things are going to go on. And so right now we're just worried about what are we going to cover up with these items, or what page are we going to have to adjust to before we glue it down to the cardstock page before we get there. So I hope that made sense. So for me, a page like this is a perfect page for a waterfall. I know that I have 2 of these. So the next one I'm going to have a top pocket. So in my mind, a top pocket is great for one of those full page images like this that you don't necessarily want to put a photo mat on top of, even though this does look, like a brilliant photo mat. So I'm going to put a top pocket on this page, and I'm not even worried about what order the pages are going to go in right now. I'm just concerned about what elements I'm going to use each page for. And so let's see here. It's the blue one. And let's see, it'll just be plain, so I'll put photo mats on that one. Flip through. I'll have one photo mat done here and probably leave this image. Do a top pocket on this one. I'm going to do a pocket with an insert on this one. This is pretty bright, so I want to cover some of it. And then I will put, I think I actually have 4 flaps. I'm going to put 1 flap on this page and 1 on this page, and I think I'll put these together. Huh, yep, nope. And then I do have 4 flaps. Okay. So now that I decided where I want different page elements, I am going to start putting the pages in the book the way that they're going to be glued down. For example, I think I want my waterfall towards the middle. So I'm going to find that page and put it in here. Now, this is going to be my front page, so I'm going to put that here. And so I'm just going to go through and lay them in. I'm not gluing anything in yet. So this one will have a top pocket, and I think this one will be nice adjacent to it. It matches the chair. Now I have my 2 flaps. So I'm going to show you the dimensions and construction of the flaps in just a minute. I don't want these plants all bunched together, so I think I'm going to try to break them up and put one back here, and probably one just about here. And then a couple pieces where I'm just going to have some photo mats. Another one with just the top pocket. Put this on the other side this time. Yeah, I think I like it like this. Then I have this fabulous couch. And I think I'm going to put this adjacent here. This will go here. Oh, hang on. 2 flaps, right? Because the flaps are going to go together, and I'll show you that in a minute, and then this will be the back page. All right, so when we cut down our 12 by 12 cardstock, I'm just demonstrating that. These leftovers are going to be some card mats that we are going to create flaps for. So they're going to open in this manner outside of your pages. So I'm going to put these aside. This is 5.5 inches, and I want to cut this down so it is about 4 inches long or so, maybe 4.5. So 4.5 inches for this one. Ooh. And I'll do this one the same size, 4.5 inches. Just make sure, if you're dealing with a little image here, that your orientation is correct and that you're slicing off the side you don't want. I'll still set the scraps aside though. And now that we have our 2 squares that are 3 3/4 by 4.5, we are going to make mats for them. So these are 3 3/4. And we want to have a good size mat around it. So we're going to cut this down to about 4 1/4. So 4 1/4. Alternate scoring tool here. And since I want about 1/4 inch on either side, I will do this just about 3 1/4 inches score mark. And then do this at 3 1/4 inches as well. The difference here is that I'm going to flip it this way. Now, before I glue it down, I'm going to round the corners. And round these corners. Glue that down. I'm going to go ahead and glue these guys down. So I'm going to put glue in the flap. Just make sure my orientation is correct, that I have the right flap. And I am going to place it right in. So I'm going to place this page right in the groove, right where the score mark is. And fold that over. So right now I'm just adhering the flap to this cardstock page, and then we're going to glue it down to the album page. And so I made sure to glue it down just a little bit above where my corner rounder ended there. So, and then I'm going to try to match these up as much as possible, and it's the same thing. Let's put glue on the flap. Grab my designer paper sheet, line it up just about the same spot because they're going to be across from each other. Glue that down. And now we are ready to glue down these pages. Okay. So we had talked about the orientation of your pages and gluing them down. So what I did is I went ahead and glued down some of these pages, and then I have a few more that I'm going to do along with you. I rounded the corners on this outside edge, and you'll see throughout the book I did the same thing. So there are some options for these flaps. I think I'll probably come in later and put a little mat here with a place photo here stamp on it, but for now I'm just going to go through to the next page that has an element. Again, some of the other pages I already glued down. Those are the ones without any fancy elements or anything. Now this one says top pocket, and this is not really fancy. All this is I'm going to put a notch at the top. And so this is just a 1-inch circle punch, and I'm just going to eyeball it, and I'm just going to put it kind of in the middle and about halfway through the circle, a little less than that, and there's your notch. And so what this does is it reminds people, or lets people know that there's a pocket here. In addition to that, though, I am going to have some twine that'll probably be, or some twine or some ribbon that will kind of stick out so people will realize that there's a tag there. So if you're going to have large tags, then feel free to glue just around the side here. If you are going to have some smaller tags, you may consider gluing up maybe to half of the page and covering half of the page with glue so that the pocket doesn't go all the way down to the bottom. Whatever you feel like doing. I happen to have decided earlier that I'm going to take some of these cabinet doors and cut them in half so they're about 6 inches. It's a pretty significant size tag, so I am just going to make a pocket where I just glue down the very outside of this page, and that will be good. Okay. Gonna use the weight of my punch again to help me hold down this other side. And probably smash some glue everywhere, it looks like. That's okay. Just gonna leave that there. And now I have a little pocket. There. That one's done. These two are just going to have some plain photo mats on them. And here's another one with a top pocket, so I'm going to do the same thing. My 1-inch hole punch. Eyeball the middle, about halfway down. And same thing. Just going to glue all the way around the outside. Here's my punch again. so that the back is about even. Take off my note. Okay, and then we just have a couple more here. Now here's my waterfall page. I don't need to actually make any changes to the page itself before I glue it down. And then this one is just another one where I'm just going to use it for some photo mats. So just glue this down. So the first thing I'm going to do is round the outside corners here. And glue it down. And of course these pages that I'm gluing down that don't have any notes on them for interactive elements or anything like that, I will be leaving a couple of them blank, but generally I'm going to put some photo mats on them. So you'll see that there is quite a bit of blank space right now, but the mats will cover some of that up. Okay, so our little book is coming together.
Thank you for joining me for part 3 of our beginning cardstock mini album.
In the next video, we will conquer the front and back covers, the spine, and the waterfall. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, safety first.